Welcome to this beautiful platform. We are talking to young women who are determined to change their communities. These wonderful young women have started their own initiatives with nothing but aiming to change their communities. Through determination and proper mentorship, we believe that they are going far.
Every woman deserves to be in a peaceful and a secure space.
Women are socialized to have different roles.
Any action that you do, you must be ready to pay the price.
They have commercialized our bodies in every aspect of life.
You're beautiful before even a man tells you that.
Hello, welcome back to the Passing the Baton podcast. This is where we talk everything women, and our episode today is going to consist of organizations. When you hear of organizations, everything organizations. So with me, I have people, as someone who is starting an initiative. I have people who are in it already, and I have someone who today we are standing on her shoulders because she started some time back. So we're just gonna hear it from them. What is it like? How do I, as Marlene, who actually is running an organization by the name Anja Foundation, get to navigate this space? So I'll let you guys introduce yourself, maybe from my far right. Just tell us who you are and what you do, briefly.
Hello, my name is Wendy Aura. I'm Director Young Women Leaders Connect, which is a youth-led organization. And I'm also an entrepreneur, the convener of Learn French with Aura online series. And today I'm so excited to be part of this amazing topic, and I can't wait to share and also learn from my colleagues. Thank you.
Amazing. Yes, over to you.
Thank you. My name is Angela Nguku. I'm many things, but one of the things that I tell people is that I am a global thought leader because I sit in many spaces in the global space, basically shaping the global health equity from a maternal newborn health lens. I founded White Ribbon Alliance in Kenya, which is a people-led movement for maternal newborn health and rights, and now looking at broadly at women's health and well-being. At the same time, I have founded a new forum that is called Audacious Her, which is basically building the next generation of bold, brave, and unstoppable women. Because a lot of times as women, we've been told to shrink, to be quiet, we are too much, and the like. And for me, this platform is about telling women in whatever sphere, whether you are up there or down here, that you should not shrink to fit, or you should not actually be who you're not. Just be who you are. The world will adjust. And beyond that, I'm an author. And at the same time, I'm a professional coach. So I do many things, and a farmer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sumba Njeri. I am a feminist, a grassroots feminist. I advocate for the rights of girls and young women. I am a mentor at Polycom. I am the founder of an initiative called the Sisterhood Continent, which majorly focuses on menstrual health management and sexual reproductive health rights at large. And what else? I am a public relations graduate. And I wear many hats, but one thing that stands out for me is I will always advocate for the rights of girls and young women. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so maybe just an icebreaker before we start. What is one thing that was done to you while you were starting in the corporate world that you hated and wouldn't want anyone else to go through that?
Well, see, there's a place where I tried internship. Let me just phrase it into the sense that I will say I was bullied when I entered the corporate world as an intern, in the sense that the environment was not kind. And by kind, I know you're thinking it's a professional space. What are you expecting? People to tap your back and all that. But these people always intimidated me intentionally, to remind you of where you are in the ladder and all that. And I will just say grace was not extended to me as someone who just wanted to put their theoretical expertise into practice. So that is one thing that I wouldn't want to do to anyone. I have always been big on extending grace and, working around our different personalities.
Beautiful. Yes, Mama Angela.
Wow. I was told many things.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, after my first degree, I was supposed to, by the government of Kenya, to do internship. It was unpaid. And so I kept on wondering, how am I supposed to do internship and I'm supposed for me to be able to register and practice, and yes, it's not paid. How am I supposed to show up, get to the work, buy pads, for example, during my Ps, eat and all those things? I'm like, is that a human being who came up with that kind of policy?
Yeah.
And I think for me, what I decided is that when you intern in the workplace where I work now at White Ribbon Alliance, you will get paid. I don't believe in, even volunteers get a volunteer stipend, because at the end of the day, how am I supposed to get home? How are you supposed to buy pads? How are you supposed to communicate? I mean, it's wrong to think that people should, just because it's an intern, it's a favor you're doing to me. Yeah. And the other thing, I looked for jobs in many places, and every time I went, I was told, where is the experience? Where am I supposed to get experience when I've just come from school? I mean, some things, and I really, really have a shout out to the late director of where I worked first. It was an organization based in South Sudan. Someone who believed that a young girl straight from campus could actually do something, and I've never looked back, because he told me, he asked me, do you have experience? I'm like, I don't have, but when you give me the opportunity, I'll be able to get this experience. And for sure, he gave me that experience. He was half German, half Kenyan, and up to now, I always say that is something I learned, because if we don't give them the space to learn, how else are they going to get experience?
Yes. Wow.
Wow. Great insights. For me, thinking through the question, I look at it two different ways. The first way, I've not been so much into corporate, but the time that I was there, I think it was my first corporate job, I felt I was being limited as a person, as a young person who has dreams, a young person who wants to explore. Because for me, naturally, I think I'm a dreamer. I love to explore and do stuff. So it is this job. They didn't even pay me well, actually, in Nairobi, with the Nairobi context. Yet they expected me to be in the office very early in the morning. The weather was crazy at that time. And then I think in my first month, there's an application I had done before getting that job. So I got, it was some academy I was at, but there was a global summit in New York. So I had applied and I got it when I had started the job. So there was a lot of demand to go follow up on the visa and passport and all that. So I tried explaining to my boss, I have maybe an interview, or maybe I need to go to an office to look at the issues of passport and all that. I found it so hard. He was, actually, the way he took it, it was like, I don't want the job. I'm serious. Like you need to choose. You just gotten into this job. You need to be serious. You want to go to New York, or you want to do the job. So he was fixing me to a place. Now I got afraid, like I could get, I needed to do an interview, but sometimes I'm torn between hiding from the office because it's important, but at the same time, your boss will get angry.
Yes.
So I felt like I could not tell the boss what is happening and why I even got that opportunity and why I really needed it. So thank God COVID came and that job stopped. Actually, I really wanted to resign, but I didn't want because of family. Resigning gives another picture.
Yeah.
But it happens that when COVID hit, no one else could work. So it was like an automatic switch off. And it was like a good thing that happened, a bad thing that happened in a good way for me.
Yeah.
But if I was to be a boss somewhere, I think I would want people to be open to me about their dreams. I have this small initiative I'm working on. I'm applying for this academy. Like, let people also have their things going on in their life beyond the job. Like, you can't give someone an option of choose the job or your thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was limited growth in the corporate. And I think after COVID, I never went back to corporate because of that experience. I feel I want flexibility. Yeah. And then also, if someone was to tell me something differently, when I was starting everything, I think somebody should have told me initiatives are more than just passion. You need to think big, think of how you're going to put money in your pocket, think of the sustainability. So, because sometimes we just normally start out of passion and then sometimes passion does not sustain everything.
Yeah. And now because Angie, because today we are talking about starting initiatives, we want to know, because we are here learning as well ourselves, even as our viewers are learning. How was it starting an initiative back then?
That's a very good question. And I love what when they are said, because I keep saying this, and this is from my own experience. Passion does not put food on the table. You will be so passionate, but at the end of the day, you will have bills to pay.
Yes.
If you have children, you will have to pay their school fees, you have friends to pay, and you will have to get where you're going. So passion is good. Passion, first I say passion without purpose is just hot. I mean, it's hot air. It will just get cold and everything like that. But you also have to ask yourself, I am doing this, I'm living this, I'm passionate about this, but how am I going to sustain it? Because the whole point is not the starting, the sustaining, the consistency and the persistency that will actually get you there. So I know I coined what I call the 4 Ps for my start. When I look back at how I started White Ribbon Alliance in Kenya, I call them the 4 Ps of growth, or whatever, of starting, or whatever. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but for me, it worked for me. 1, passion, persistence, purpose, and prayer. Because those 4 helped me. And let me tell you, it was not easy. In 2016, I took a career break. And I tell people I left a very good paying job. 3 continents, 10 countries I was leading. I was a global programs director. Before then, I'd worked. I mean, God has been good to me. I've been having very nice jobs. Before then, I was a global programs manager for the African region. And then I lost my mom in 2015. And then in 2016, early, I lost my sister, my big sister. And I remember the reason why I left is not because I'd had these losses, or even the fact that I was called back to work on my compassion leave when I was on my compassion leave for my sister. But it's a fact that I was in a space where I felt I was not fulfilled. I was not satisfied. First, because I had almost become a flower girl in someone's parade. Like I was doing this, I was a global programs director, but I was still getting people from London, the US telling me what to do. Those who know me know that I like thinking for myself. I don't like being directed. I mean, people should be allowed to really thrive, whether you're young, whether you're old. Everyone has their idea, and no one comes to the table empty. And so that was not really the reason. But when the opportunity for me to really leave came, I had to leave. I decided to leave. But then I told myself, what do I need to do? What saved me rent-wise, because by then is because I just bought a house. And so I moved to my house, and it was easy because I didn't have to think rent.
Yes.
I had already saved a few coins here and there. So I knew, at least for these 6 months, they say you have to be ready for 6 months. So for 6 months, I had something to do, somewhere to actually get it. But beyond that, remember, I had skills. I was consulting, and I was already, remember, I had I had been working for some time. So I didn't just wake up from campus and decide. So I had the skills, and people knew me in the space. So I could apply for consultancies and do. And actually, it's those consultancies that actually made me pay bills. Even as I was if I was needed to go to the NGO board to register, if I needed to bring people together. And of course, you have to have a base of people believe in you. I remember 2 colleagues, two friends of mine, I really treasure them, who came to me, and as I was telling them, I really don't know what I want to do. They told me, what happened to that idea that you had when you used to work together? And actually, it's the light bulb moment that came, and I was like, oh, actually, that's a good thing. And I decided I was never going back to work, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. But then you can't do it without anything. You will get frustrated, you get burned out, you'll be hungry at some point. You need people to work with you, but at the same time, you need to know, how am I going to sustain myself? So I tell people the first office for White Ribbon Alliance was actually in my house in Athi River. By then, my house was in Athi River in Lukenya, actually, around there. Going to the office was easy because I had a car. So the office was in the car. Somewhere I would take meetings, whatever. And then I needed to be very present in spaces where whatever I was doing was being discussed. And I consistently told myself, Angela, there are days I could drive from Athi River all the way to Nairobi for a meeting, and then it ends up being, people look at you like, but even if we give you money, you have nothing to, you have no this, you don't have, you're expected to have instead of someone holding your hand to actually say, this is someone who has something that is good, that can change the way. People look at you like, but what are you going to bring to the table? Even without listening, you're really like brushed off. So I say for you to start, you have to have the that thick skin that you're not going to look back. That passion alone is not going to pay your bills. But you have to be very purpose-driven. You have to be really persistent and very persevering in whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, you have to have something else that is really giving you money. Don't give your all because you are trying to save the world.
Yes.
Because a lot of the initiatives that I hear, people are trying to save, but no one is coming to save you. So you have to think you first.
Yes.
Even they say in the planes that you have to put on your mask first before you put on the mask of other
Yes.
people. So you have to really ask yourself, how am I going to sustain myself? And not get burnt out. And then at the end of the day, you start now feeling like failure. And remember, as a woman in this African continent, the minute you fail, they look at you like, we knew. She's a woman. What was she expecting? What was she thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, so the early days, a man was sustaining her, now the man has left. They will... Oh, so you really have to have it figured out. And I say this as a coach now, and someone who mentors other people, and someone who still be mentored and has mentored people, have someone else you can actually go and think through with. Have a thought partner with you, or someone who can actually, you can go and tell them all what you have gone through, and then they can actually walk the journey. But don't walk alone, because alone you will go fast, but you'll not go far. But with other people, you'll go far.
Wow. Should we wrap up? Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Wendy, tell us, how is it right now starting an initiative? We've heard about back then. How is it now?
I think for me, because it's something out of passion that I started in campus. Then when you are out of campus, there's still no job. You just continue doing your things. At some point, I think you feel... First of all, I think I have a lot of experiences. We started with friends. You just start with a small circle with friends. But along the way, there's also an aspect of people growing wings and wanting to fly. So I think one of the things I've also learned as a person, that I may mentor somebody, but not forever. Because I had many girls I was mentoring, I was working with, and then over time they start their own initiatives. Because when you see somebody doing something else that you are also doing, or something similar, something related, or in the same field, it's okay to support, and it's okay to just also let them grow their wings and fly.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the things I learned. But also, it's important to keep boundaries, especially when it comes to friendships. You see, you can start something and then you have friends around, you are doing it together, but you don't know what will happen in your friendship. And then there's a lot of, because you're my friend, I can trust you too much with all the ideas, with all the future plans. We are in this together. We are going to, there's a lot of pouring into someone when you feel comfortable. She's a friend or he's a friend. But I've come to realize when it comes to work, now your initiatives is work.
Yes.
You have to separate friendship and work. Because sometimes when the boundary is crossed and then some things get a bit messy, it's either the friendship will break or your work. So sometimes you are in a situation where you have to choose. And I think it's important for us even to put boundaries. Like you could get friends because they know you have something. And, I put a lot of sweat in if I decide to do something. Like this is your baby. You take it like your baby. You want to put a lot of sweat in it and grow it. But, some friends, they don't see the sweat. They see you doing well. They see you doing the stuff, a lot of things. They see you creating a niche for yourself. And then for them, because they're close, they kind of think it's a free way to do some things. Like they want to use the organization's name to do something. They want to, when they write me a recommendation, like favors, let me call them favors. So over time, there's a mentor of mine who told me that I don't need to do people a favor because they're my friends, using the work, something that you are working on, something serious for you. So I think it took me time to put boundaries to certain things, to friendship and work. And then I think we are still learning a lot. It's a whole new thing because over time, because like I said, I didn't even know it will be something called an organization. When you just start something because it has been working.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that the young people will just support you because you are doing a good thing. That has helped me a lot because even in campus, I could just start a campaign and I have a whole lot of volunteers and mentors and everyone wants to come on board. So that one was a plus for me. And then we shifted beyond campus. Everyone, you want to do something, in Homa Bay, you have a lot of people who just want to come on board. So there's that energy around that propelled me, the friends that we started with. But again, we are growing. When I grow as a person, then the people around me, I also expect them to grow. And then we may differ now in terms of the way we think, the way we visualize things.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You now come to terms that it's okay that people move on. People start families. We were just young at that time. Most of us now have families. And then now the discussion shifts to how do you feed families? How do you feed your kid? Your kid is now going to school. You never even, but at that time, you are not thinking about fees. You're not thinking about a kid.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
allow me to intrude in that.
Yeah.
And just maybe go to Sumba. Sumba, we have babies. We've started initiatives that are so small. Ile nyata, when you're introducing yourself, it's like you forget it. Or you're like, hey, should I really say this? Because it's so small. Do you think we have much needed support? And maybe I'll just feed into something that happened. So for me, I started the organization. I never told anyone. I was like, hii nikisema, sitawahi itwa tena mali ingine, And I remember the day I said it, Mom Jen was so mad. She was like, you want to mean you started this initiative and you never told me? Because me, I was scared. I'm like, nikisema ni hivyo mimi sitawahi onekana Polycom tena or what? She was so mad. So, but do you think we have much needed support?
We do have the support. Like Marlene has said, when you start an initiative, it's like pregnancy. Time your strip imetoka line mbili. You're scared, you don't know who to tell, you don't know wataniita tena. They will think, no, this one is established. We don't want her in the organization. Ama she's competition. But now see, before FemInspire, I also used to keep my organization to myself, right? And then after FemInspire with Polycom, where we were just pitching our initiatives to Polycom, and then we'd get the support, the emotional, sometimes the financial here and there. So I'd say we have the support, like 30% of the support. We still have a long way to go. Like the baby has not yet teethed. There's the whole usiku aspect and all that.
She needs to cry.
And so maybe we don't, the things we know about organizations, I swear to God, the baby is the best example. And I'm not a mother, but I have the best example as the baby. Unasikianga, you just hear stories from people. Atalia usiku, they will do this. But you don't know how yours will be. So we walk, it's like you're walking on ice. You want to walk steadily, but you need someone to hold your hand intentionally, not just to check boxes, but we still need that 70%. We need to bridge that gap.
Yeah. And Mom Angela, sorry, apologies for that. You've been in this space, and as you're introducing yourself and you're saying what you've really not liked that has happened, I can hear you're so big on appreciation. Now I am here, for example, someone who is under you, and they're like, okay, now I want to start this initiative. What is the best way for me to come in that I'm not also sabotaging your organization? Yes.
I think first, before you even answer that, I'll take you back. And I'll tell
Sumba.
Yes, Sumba, that even during our time, and I'll tell you this, even during my years when I was in campus, I would go you'll meet blockers on the way, barriers, old people. Not everyone who is older or is running an organization wants to see younger people come up. And it really pains me because whether we like it or not, we are growing old and we need the younger generation. And I'll use an example twice. When I was in campus in my 4th year, I was doing, I had a rotation. I was in med school, and so we were going to Kenyatta National Hospital, was our training hospital. And I remember going for this rotation with one of professors, and the professors, we went for this rotation in one of the wards. It was leadership, around leadership and administration. And I remember 2 women, they were older, and they said, Prof, are these the young ones who want to come and take up our space? Please tell them we are not leaving. We are sitting there with, I remember they used the medical term, with our 2 gluteus. That was my first degree is in nursing and midwifery. And I looked at them, I'm like, do you think first I would want to come and sit here? Who wants to sit here at this age? I want to be out there shaping policies and making things at the global space and the likes. And then that was that. And I was so disappointed. And then the next time is when I started what I was doing. No, first when I went to work and when I was a regional programs manager across Africa. And I remember my director telling me, I remember I was 31, going 32. And he told me, now it's when I was having this passion of starting what I was starting. I didn't realize that I was actually, when I used to be called by the media to talk about the issues and the like, I didn't realize that the women in the space, I call them the toxic matriarchs. And by the way, unlike Sumba, you'd rarely hear me say that I'm a feminist because I came across very toxic feminists when I was younger, that I decided I'm going to fight for the rights of women and girls. But because of that, you know, the way they put that thing in your mouth, like you want, because if you really are true feminist, you're not the one who's going to step on
other females.
So they used to come behind my bosses, whatever, and tell my boss, oh, you should stop Angela, she's too much, she's this and this. So I remember this time my boss told me, you know, you're too young. If you really think that you've done so well in your job, for you to deserve a director position, you wait, you'll be a director at 60. Anyway, 3 months down the road, I was a director because I quit. Because why are you really putting me? And then I come into the space and I decide now I am leaving my job and I'm starting White Ribbon Alliance. And I remember, I'll never forget, I was after making a presentation in some forum in Canada, in Vancouver. And this lady walks to me. She's a Kenyan, and she walks to me and tells me, you know, Angela, we know you're starting this. You need to be a bit diplomatic. You don't need to do it this way. You know who will be able to support you. And I looked at her, I'm like, wait a minute. Whatever you preach out there and whatever you're telling me are totally two different things. And so I tell younger people that when you're coming up, don't think everyone who smiles with you actually is smiling at you. They could be smiling at you and telling you, oh, you're doing so well. Yes. Oh, that's such a good. But behind the scenes, they're the ones wishing that you are down. So you really have to pray for discernment. You really have to trust your gut, that you have to know who am I, your boundaries, who am I going to share this with. And I agree with you. It's nice to think through how we like, because you can share with someone and they take you to the next level, or they shatter you and you'll never come out of there. And I think some of the worst people you can ever meet are the ones who shatter your dreams to the point that you cannot recollect them again. And those are very dangerous people. So you really have to, as you're walking the journey, you have to ask yourself, who are the people that look aligned with my value system? Because values are also very powerful. And I like what she said. Not everybody, when you are hustling, when you are young, when you're in campus, when you are there, you are all aligned because you seem. But the minute things, your stars start shining, that's when you start. And when you start moving to the next, is when you know our values aligned. And if they are aligned, if they are not aligned, what am I supposed to do? And it's okay to, it's not to be wanted. It's okay to not to be wanted. And it's okay to run on your own. If you know, because remember, you came alone and you shall live alone. Yes. And then when it comes to what is it that you, I don't know whether that is a question. You could ask me the question again, then I can be able to.
The question was, now I'm under you. Now I see a gap and I want to start an initiative. How do I approach you so that it doesn't look like I'm also sabotaging what you're doing?
I think for sure, because I am assuming that by the time you're coming to me, I'm already in that space, either it's a women rights space or the feminist space or whatever. You should, I think if you can, me and you having a conversation, you can already tell what kind of a person I am. But then I always tell people, have the initial conversations. Let that person not be the one who kills your dream. You should be, not just have conversation with one person, have with many people. And then from there, you'll be able to pick. Your gut will tell you whether that is the right person. And if it's the right person, like what you're saying, what Jen was telling you, that, why did you not tell me? Then you can be sure, had I shared it with Jen would hold my hand. You would have had another conversation with someone else and they're like, I'm not sure. And for you too not to have shared it, there must be something you went through or something you had from someone else. And I'll tell you, many people don't. Competition is very ripe out here, whether you are young or old. That's what I learned. I thought when you are older, you'll be like, oh, she's coming up, at least we'll have someone else for tomorrow. No. Let me tell you, there are some, and majority are the ones who don't want to see you shine. So you will be able, so for me, if you come to me now, I'm speaking as Angela, one of the things I really love, and that's why I started the Audacious Hub by Angela, to really see how I can grow those women who can be able to take over. I keep saying, tomorrow when I leave, we should be looking back and asking, how many Angelettes, like from Angela, have I left behind? If there's none, then I was not a good leader. But if I can be able to show and hold your hand and tell you, by the way, if you're starting this is the way to go. One of the things I tell people, if you're starting an NGO like I did, and a network, these are the do's and don'ts. This is, you have to, if you have it registered, just know you have to pay statutories. You have to ensure that you are not caught up with penalties. I will not be the one telling you, oh, don't worry, don't. And then 3 years down the line, you realize, actually, I can actually be closed because I've not paid the penalties. If I am starting an organization, I cannot start feeding other people and I'm not paying myself a stipend. How will you survive? Because a lot of people have done that, and I did that, and I know what it means. And I remember there's a girl I mentor in Busia, and I was telling her, she tells me, this laptop is because you told me I have to have a laptop. She used to go to a cyber to go and do work with girls and everything, but she had nothing to work with. She used to fend for her own bus fare. She never used to pay a coin for herself. But remember, this is your mainstream job. How else are you? Someone else told me, actually, when you are starting, you can't pay yourself. Otherwise, donors will not trust you.
Wow.
Was that really the right advice? No, because she really wanted me to get tired and stop the whole thing. So you really have to ask yourself, who is my mentor? And if I'm your mentor, I'll definitely tell you this is what. Sometimes I actually shadow people in the organization that I work in, so that when you come, you can be able to see how is it done like. And if you want to start, I can tell you, you're not yet ready.
Yes.
I can assess and say, oh, you're not yet ripe. This is where you, and once you get there, I can tell you, now you're ready to. To get to the next level. And then I open doors for people to come and ask me, oh, do you think I'm faring? What else? I've actually opened doors for many people, even in global spaces where they can actually go. If I see something that is not doable with us and someone else comes to us, oh, are you doing this at White Ribbon? No, I'm like, no, we're not doing this, but I know someone who can be able. And I've done that for other girls and other people.
Beautiful.
Because until we share, we will not go anywhere alone. And I believe the space there's enough for all of us.
Yes.
There's too much. In fact, there's even gaps. We need more people who can be able to come and start something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that, because Mam Jen keeps on saying we keep on duplicating work.
Yeah.
Duplicating. Yes, there's so much work. So it's just a call to action to the people leading initiatives to do your research. Don't go duplicating. And also something else I'm hearing from you so largely is that the ocean is too wide for all of us to float on it. So maybe I'll go back to you, Wendy. You have started. You're some steps in front of us. You have started. Hauna, yes, there's support. The person you're working under now, let's just give an example, has really supported. They're like, you know what, I release you, go in blessings. How do you start? And maybe I'll speak for myself. We are the kinds of people who are digging deep into our pockets that have nothing. Which pockets? Like, I mean, it's just deep. The pocket is, like, where do I start? Oh my goodness, I know this is an initiative I need to do, because, man, I'm seeing a gap, especially in women, because there's the aspect of double discrimination. Where do I start? Who do I go to? Sawa, nimepewa blessings. But huyu mwenye amenipewa blessings, maybe hata hajui avenues. Jamani, where do I go? Rent nikifikiria, I'm about to blow up. Yes. Briefly.
Well, I think that's a real question. That's a reality. I've been there.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, as much as your baby is growing and your baby is, the love is still there for your baby. But like I said, utashinda, you overstretch into your pocket, and then you go back home empty-handed, and then you have your things to do. I've been there. But I think also you can always be creative, but at the same time not kill your baby. I mean, when I start something that is for income, maybe it can be something out of a skill you have. Like for me, what has helped me, because I can't say like I have grants, no.
Yeah.
We've not reached that point. But what has sustained me is consultancies, because I know I can speak well. I know I can moderate. I know I can do this. So I started doing consultancies. And then tapping on networks. You remember we talked about networks.
Yes.
So I there's a point I just came and I just become so candid with you. If you're maybe an ED of an established organization, maybe we know each other. At maybe in a different level, I can just come. If I feel my guts tell me you are that person, the guts is very important, because you can meet people. Maybe when I'm, like for example, when I met with Mam Jen, I introduced myself as an ED somewhere. She was an ED somewhere. You know, the person may take with the same caliber, but we are not the same.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you feel there's something else about this person, then I normally take it. I normally just gain that confidence and just open up with you and just tell you, by there, we are still at this level. I'm still growing. I would love an opportunity to also grow financially as I grow this baby. Because not all, but the few that my guides have told me to speak to, actually ask for consultancies. I tell them, you guys have the funds and I can do this. You know, if you are not able to employ me, I can do this.
Yeah.
This is what I can do. These are my skill set, my experience. I can do this job very well. And for sure, I don't just say it. I do the job very well so that you can also get future references. And I think for me, even my track record of the quality of work I've done has given me referrals to others. So for what I say is, and just recently, like I said, I started French, which is, I didn't do teaching in campus, but it is a skill I have. I did in campus, I have passion for French.
Yeah.
So I started something. So you can always have something you're doing on the side. If you're good in sales, you're good in marketing stuff, have a small bags by Wendy, something going on so that you get your food. Because I can tell you, if you wait for grants,
Yeah.
and these grants are not sustainable. When they come, itakuwa ya project, haitakuwa yako,
Yes.
unaona. So we need to also be wise and creative of how can we, it's about now opening doors for income.
Yeah.
Whether it is talent, whether it is your time, consultancies, having a small business on the side. And then also, I think one of the things I've also learned and got interested in is social entrepreneurship. Let's look at beyond dependency on grants, because these grants sometimes there's a day watamua tu, like Trump aliamua tu siku moja and then froze those grants. What if tomorrow we wake up and all of them are frozen? What will we do? So we can always, let's not have a mindset of always waiting for donations and grants. I think one of the things, and I applied for a fellowship. It was a 6-month fellowship on social entrepreneurship, and I was like, hey God, this is timely, you know.
Yes.
So you start thinking of, this is my small initiative, how can I now create business models around it, okay? But at the same time, still serving the community.
Yes.
Because one of the things, maybe as founders, maybe it is a founder syndrome, like we normally put others front so much and then we forget ourselves.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe it's all founders. But sometimes when you do something that gives you money through that initiative, then there's a feeling of
A guilt.
like I'm starting to make profit.
Yes.
And what will people say that I'm using this thing to make money? But you need money, you know. And I think we need to stop being apologetic about getting money and using our initiatives to create money. Think of your initiative, it's doing good to the society, but now how can it also bring money to that initiative and to you?
Yes,
you know,
beautiful.
So building business models, having I think that is one of the biggest lessons. And I have another mentor, because I have different mentors. There's another mentor who has literally been pushing me to when they stop over depending, waiting for grants. He also started, I think because we have a similar story, he also quit corporate to start an initiative, but she's big on social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So she keeps pushing me and telling me, when do you think of how you can make money? Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush to please people. Yeah, to take care of everybody's problem. When you have a lot in your house, start thinking of yourself. So I think that is one of the learning I'm trying, because maybe even naturally, because I'm a firstborn, I love to solve people's problems. Yeah, in my family, at home, in my marriage, I'm always solving. But I'm trying and learning to also start putting myself first.
Nice.
And maybe we also need to normalize it as founders, that it's okay to put yourself first, to think of how this initiative will also help you financially. Because everything is money.
Yeah.
Everything.
Caesar
Even
needs what
helping
belongs
people,
to him.
you need transport to go help that person.
Yeah, that's
You
very
know?
true. So
when you're coming back to your house, you need transport.
Yeah.
So I think we need to start shifting the conversation from to social entrepreneurship,
Yes.
and especially for young initiatives. Yeah, it's okay that whatever we are doing is so good to the community, but you cannot solve everybody's problem, and we cannot die. In fact, if you die, they'll bury you and your initiative will also die. Yeah. So we need to also think of how to sustain ourselves so that the initiative can also grow.
Awesome. So maybe back to Mama Angie, and even as I say this, because we're in the same boat with Sumba, our babies are, hey, wanalia. Maybe you can just think about a question that you can shoot to them because they've gone before us, and maybe just to ask you, how long did it take until that breakthrough came here? Because what she's saying is very real. You cannot depend on these grants. In fact, when you expect it, haikuji. In fact, maybe I know, but sometimes hata niko na sessions na 5 girls. Because we don't, even the reimbursement for transport, we don't have. But should I be mad that they're not there? No. So maybe just encourage someone who has auna do. Yani, you're even cooking the food yourself. You're the cook, you're the facilitator, you're the everything.
I think that's so true. So I can say, I don't even think I've broken even. Let me say that, even as much as I look like. What can I say? When I started, I was actually consulting to feed the organization. But what I tell people, what I know now and what I knew then are very different things. And I really like what Wendy is talking about. We need to think entrepreneurship. We need to think sustainability. Let me tell you, charity will never change us. What will change us is the sustainable models that someone, even if you let's say you're working on like menstrual health, hygiene and the like, you need to think of, I cannot just think of giving free towels to these girls. You also need to teach them about depending on themselves, independence and the like. So do I really need to get money by the pass and then I can sell them at a cheaper rate, or even teach them how to do things and they like how to think through? Honestly, today, I think grants are not the way to go. I think we need to think about looking at, I was telling my team the other day, I think we need to think about impact investors. People are actually willing to come and invest a capital, you invest and then you recoup something out of it and then you can be able to sustain the organization.
Yeah.
Because for 3 good years, I basically was just giving money. I would come, leave 2 volunteers in the office or in the organization, and the office I'm also paying for myself from the pocket. Go do my consultancies out there. Good enough, I used to get some quite good consultancies, and then I come and feed the organization at my expense. Imagine I'm trying to save the world at my own expense and the like. So I think I have to think of, you have to think you first, and you have to think sustainability. And even if you're going to get grants and the like. So for example, now, because we have a model that we use that is really like great, we get consultancies as an organization, and we do, and the money that we get is what we used in the work that we do. But we are now more and more thinking, because now what we do, because the work that I do is really around women's health. We started with maternal newborn health, asking women what they want, told us what they want is economic power, teaching them about literacy, how to do business, how to do different things, how they can sell their produce, how they can access markets and the like. Now using that, and maybe sometimes we give them seed funding, but we also expect something to come back to us so that we can be able to sustain. So we have to think models. We have to think diversity in how we fundraise. But most importantly, you cannot sustain it from your pocket. So you better just close that pocket now and maybe take a seat back and ask yourself, me, Wendy or Marlene or Sumba, is this what I want to do? It is okay to go and get employed, by the way, as you're running that on the side. You can decide I'm going to do a job for 3 days a week, and then 2 days I'll be doing something else. I can decide I'll be cooking, I'll start a kiosk somewhere, I'll be doing ABCD, and this I'll be doing 2 days a week. Because the minute you feel, remember what I said, passion does not put food on the table.
Absolutely.
And then you also don't want to get, burned out. At the end of the day, you hate yourself and you hate everything else, because it's a good idea that you have. But start somewhere. Don't just, the other day, a nephew of mine walked into my house and like, Auntie, by the way, I saw you've started this thing and it's really doing very well. It's recognized globally and the like. How can I start there? Where are these donors to go to? I laughed and I told you, my friend, go look for a job.
Where are they?
They're not there. They died. Because the minute you think that, and let me tell you, your journey are very different. You think it's very you have to think whatever Jen has done is not it's how it's gonna work, because the times are different also.
Life is not linear.
Life is exactly so, and everyone's journey is different. So I normally tell people, let her walk her journey, you walk your journey. You can learn the lessons and share the lessons as you go along, but your journeys are very different. So don't sit somewhere and say, I have this thing, and then you start hating yourself. It's not working. Do like I did in 2010. Leave it. Continue with your work. Do your masters. Do whatever you want to do. Then one day, don't kill that baby. One day, or you can be doing it and talking about it on the side. And then once you feel like you've established your networks, you can actually come back and pick that baby. But don't feel like now, because it's not, I have to do it now. Remember, what you're doing is what the government is supposed to be doing for its people. It's not your business. It's a need, but it's not like it's a life and death thing. It's the only one. You should save yourself. You should first stabilize yourself before you can stabilize anyone else. So don't give your all to the point that your sweat, your blood, your bone marrow, everything now is there. You can think, actually I feel like I'm really crushed. Let me look for something that can sustain me. Don't care what people will say. She started this, she never. When people ask you about it, still move with the... I used to tell people about White Ribbon. People actually used to call me to spaces thinking I still run White Ribbon. But to be honest, between 2011 to 2017, I was not doing White Ribbon work. I was working, doing my master's, doing my different things. But when I came back because people I used to still talk about it. So don't feel like it's a bad thing. Don't feel like a loser or a failure. It is just because you post.
Yeah.
So that you can be stable. And once you stabilize, then you can get back and really run it and run it very well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sumba, your last question as we wrap it up.
Okay. So I feel like
Angie, Mom Angie, yeah.
Mom Angie. Okay, I'm so bad with names. Mom Angie has practically answered all the questions I had here. But now the one question I want to ask. See, the one problem that cuts across is finance. Because if you have finance, you're able to prioritize your mental health. You're able to push forth your initiative. You're able to pause your initiative and go and do your master's or your degree or whatever. And I just want to ask, she's already responded to the whole financial aspect. I'm going to try the social entrepreneurship. See, how do you pitch your initiative to a potential investor or partner? It's so many elevator pitch. Okay, there's a whole, you've already, uko nayo hapa kwa kichwa, you can recite it as a poem. I have seen Angela and I want to say it to her since I bumped into her. How do you do it, one, in a way that does not irritate that person? Because these people seem irritated when you speak.
This small girl.
It's like you're begging. You get, how do you do it without feeling like you are, you're begging, but feeling like you are begging and not irritating that potential investor? And then how do you deal with rejection on that level? Because how do you deal with rejection on that level? Because there's an initiative. Do I call it an initiative? I'm leading a group of girls and young women at Polycom. We're writing a petition on menstrual waste management in Kibra, because that is a serious problem, and that's like a feminist approach to climate justice. No, so we have a petition ready that we're supposed to submit to the county government of Nairobi, and we also have a structure a proposal for a CSR for the different pads companies. No, now every time I'm an overthinker. Every time I sit down and I'm thinking, sasa hii petition ikifail, what am I going to do? Na CSR pay katai. So what next? And I currently don't have an answer on what next, and that crushes me. And if this mission fails, it will crush me even more. So how do you deal with such?
I think I'll answer in two ways. One, before you can even go to pitch that CSR and even that petition, you have to work on yourself. Because believe you me, you will be rejected in this world. You'll be rejected in your own family. You'll have helped them with everything. They'll reject you. I was actually just sharing with them earlier how family can reject you, and you think you've done everything, and they come back and make you feel like you've done nothing. You have to think of, you'll be rejected. You're a young girl. A man will reject you. Your friends will reject you. You walk in spaces and you'll speak and people will sneer at you. So you have to work on yourself first. Because rejection is part of our life. And I think how to work, and for me, the reason why when I coach people, because it's about some of those things, like there's one client that I dealt with was really an overthinker. She used to go to for interviews and she'll get stuck because she's already thinking beyond even what the panel is going to do. It's when I say this, they are going to say, she has already re-asked. So you have to overcome that overthinking and really believe in what, you have to have that self-belief that whatever you're pitching is what is there. And how to get there, you have to think of the person that you're all that, because investors are people. It's like the way we say systems are people. You have to ask yourself, what is the interest? You really have to do a background check of who is these people? What are their lines? What are their values? What are their interests? Again, it goes back to the values and what are their interests? And what do they think about, for example, if you're a woman, you're going to pitch and you're going to pitch to a man. What is the idea about girls and women? Because that also shapes her. Because with someone who's really an abuser of women, they look at you like, in fact, you or even the ones who will be making advances as you're going to do those speeches and the like. So I'd say first, you have to work on yourself. Number two, you have really to do like a background check around who are these people that I'm going to do this pitch. And then within the first, or not even 1 minute, less than a minute, you need to already have sold the idea to them. If you don't sell them and you don't make them believe it before, and you are an overthinker, you will crash.
Yeah.
So you have to really think. It has to be something that excites them. I like using questions or stories when I'm pitching. And if I am pitching for what I do, the first thing is I ask you, like, have you ever asked anyone who ever come, if I'm pitching to a woman and I've done a background check, maybe she has a child or maybe she's a woman. As if anyone, how would it feel if someone came to you and asked you what you need in your life? Then of course they'll be like, oh, I'll be so happy because, I mean, she'll tell you a story around, because a lot of times I think the word is prescriptive and they're like, and then I'll be like, and that is why I do what I do at White Ribbon Alliance in Kenya. I start by asking women and girls what they want for their health and well-being. And that you're already aligned to you're already making them, because they're already saying, oh, and I'll go on and tell them, because the world has made it very prescriptive, that they already come and top-down approaches, they'll tell you ABCD, but here this is it and this is the gap that we have realized. And this is what women and girls are asking for. Will you listen and act?
Wow.
Like, you make it very simple. And then they will, of course, if they are whatever, they'll ask you, what does that listening look like? What does the acting look like? What is it that we can be able to do?
Yeah.
Make it their issue. Now move it from your issue to their issue. And it's already their interest and the kind of people that you've already done a background check. If they are good people, they'll tell you, okay, today is not a good day. This time round, it's not a whatever. This is what we do, whatever. We are really passionate about it. We have nothing, but I can refer you. They are the same ones who can refer you to different people who are doing it. Yesterday, I did 2 pitches to 2 different people. And that's exactly what they told me. One of them told me, actually, I'm so glad. She was wowed even before I finished what I was doing. And then the other one told me, we are out of our funding period, but clearly this is really aligned with what, and I would really want to send me a BCD. You see, you really have to. It has to be, you have to make it their issue.
Yes.
You now move it. It's like almost telling them, I'm bringing you a solution to a problem that I've seen you guys having.
Yes.
But again, start with working on yourself. And that's why for me, it's very important that I coach young women, because a lot of us already, it's like you've already applied makeup and you are the one now removing the makeup again yourself, because you don't believe in yourself. And I don't blame you. The society has made us to start. If you are going to pitch and you're a man and you as a woman, you have to prepare twice. Because again, the society has made it very easy for men.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
Just on that.
30 seconds, Wendy.
Yeah. I think whatever she's talking about with example is what we call advocacy. And because I've really been taught about advocacy, you need to first know who are you targeting. Don't if you move around with that issue to just anyone else, you'll keep hitting the walls. Find out who is the right person, and in your case it is Kibera. Who is the decision maker in Kibera in terms of menstrual health? So know that person, specific person. It is who and who, Mrs. or Mr. Who and who in this office. And this is his or her mandate, because the decision maker is the final stop in that advocacy process. So I think that is the first thing you need to know about. And then now you start working backwards now to reach, I think advocacy is the whole process. For me, before I knew about advocacy, I thought social media tunafanyanga hashtag. No, that is not, because it must end at somebody somewhere influencing a change, whether it is policy, whether it is an action, but don't overthink that it has to be big. At your level, at Kibera, even if it is the chief who makes that decision, that is the duty bearer. So find out who are you targeting with the right person, and then the stakeholders around that person, the partners around that person, then you start the process. Yeah.
Mama Angie, a statement as your parting shot.
Actually, I don't want to part short fast. I need to say something, because we have made it look like it's very easy. It's not easy. We also have to look at the young founders like you and what is the problem and how you can solve it, because there's a problem. So we it's a generation which is, when you're young, and I was young at some point. Remember, I was a student leader in the university, so I came out with that mentality that I will change the world, and the rest of the people are just not doing the right thing. We also have to ask ourselves, so what are the issues with the young people and the young founders, and what is it that they can learn from those who have gone ahead of them? There's something called humility, and I call it, humility is not like I sit on you. Humility is acknowledging that those who have gone ahead of you, this is what they have done, this the mistakes they have made, there is whatever, and they are not they have what they know, you have what you know, and there's something you can learn from them.
Yeah.
What I see a lot of young people do, the mistake they're doing, and I think you're the Gen Z generation, is that you want to come and rubbish it off and start afresh like, oh, this is it. You also need to do your math. You are not your math. You need to do your research. What has been done before? There's a lot of replication and duplication of efforts, and that's what does it. Waste resources and the like. And I think you mentioned it earlier, where you say that people want to come and duplicate. And I think it's a Kenyan thing.
Yeah.
You see someone anaboil mahindi hapo kwa street, hata wewe unataka kuja kuboil mahindi hapo, ingine hapo. Kama yeye anaboil mahindi, choma yako. Usikuje tu kuboil ingine.
Yes.
If someone else is roasting mutura, go and roast something else that can go with that mutura. They don't come and duplicate another mutura because that's what we are doing. So everyone wants to do
the same thing.
The same thing over and over again. And I feel like it's another thing. A lot of young founders that I've seen, I work with, when my organization works what we call Women and Girls Action Networks for Change. They are spread across different counties and across even different informal settlements. People are also looking at it as their easy way to get money and earn money and get. If that is your mentality, instead of the change that you want to see, you're going to eat a wall. When I started my organization, or the organization that I ran, it was a network. Let me tell you, when we got the first grant, very few people will walk the journey when you're tilling the land and cutting the trees. No one wants to be there. People want to support you from a distance. Oh yeah, that forest needs to come down. You know, that whatever. No one will bring you a djembe or even water to drink. But the minute you've done that, and you've called them and told them, now I've done this, this is what we are, this is the initial small monies that we've gotten that we want to do this. Now people want to a share of that money. Ooh. And people have no manners. I will tell you that point blank. People will be like, oh, you know, we also need this. We were supporting you. Even we did this. We came for this meeting. You have to be careful who exactly. And I think she mentioned it earlier. So we also have to know that there are issues, true issues that are already there. I was talking to someone not long ago, and they told me that I cannot support anything in Kibera. Then I asked them why. It's because the young people in Kibera think that starting organizations is the way to kuomoka. I think that's a language. Yeah. And I think you need to stand out in a way that you showcase that actually that's not why you are doing it. You are doing it because it's a need. And because it's a narrative that's already been, people have already had that mentality, because some people go ahead and just start briefcase things for themselves and stuff. And that spoils for all of us, whether you like it or not. It's like the way they say that you can't trust Kenyans. Okay, they say you can't trust Nigerians, not Kenyans. But it's the same thing. So you really have to carve a niche for yourself to prove. And now you have to work extra hard because someone has already gone ahead and showcased that I'm doing it for me. It's a way of kuomoka and stuff like that. So you also have to ask yourself, why am I starting this? How am I going to be different? What is my value proposition? What is my unique selling point? How am I going to stand out such that people can actually convince and win their interest and their trust that why I'm doing it is because there's a need and there's a gap that needs to be closed at the end of the day. And then you also need to caution the rest of the founders that we need to do this for the good of the people here. There are many people looking up to you, not for our own, just for our own selfish reasons and the like. And the truth be told, we have a lot of briefcase organizations also in this country. People get a lot of money and they never do it, and that really spoils for the rest of us. So we have to have our values, and our values have to be really aligned with what exactly we want to do. And don't be used. I say this because organizations have used young people also. I mean, I refuse being hosted myself because the first time we were hosted, oh my God. And then the second time we went to start asking for hosting, 3 times, nimeoshwa mara 3. People were like, oh, that's a good initiative, we can do whatever. They just wanted to take advantage of you. So when I started this, I decided, with or without money, I am not going to be hosted. Because there are people who are just looking at what is it that they are preying on your ideas and all that. So you really have to be careful. You have to do the ground quite well and get the right mentors to walk the journey with you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Anyway, you had asked me for my parting
a statement. Yeah. Even as we think of Wendy and Sumba.
So I think for me, I would say that as someone who has founded something, and I also I believe that some people are meant to be founders. And others, some people are not founders, really. Not everyone is a founder. And I say that with a lot of, for you to really found something, you have what it's inborn, that inborn passion and drive and leadership skills that you have. And some people are founders, but they're not leaders. So you can be a founder, but you're not the leader. So if you feel like you're a founder, but you can't lead, get someone else to come and lead and add to what you have. Because not everyone can lead, and not everyone can be led. And not everyone is a founder. So if you feel like I have this, but I don't have a skill set to do that, it's okay to ask for help. it's okay to work on yourself also, because you might come in, you don't have a skill in leadership or in management and doing whatever, but you can also learn along the way.
Yeah.
And one thing I tell younger people, ask for help, do not shrink to fit, and please speak up. The fact that I've gone ahead doesn't mean that I have all the ideas the world needs. Speak up in whatever space. Don't get into a space and just shrink. Speak up and let the world know what you're doing. And believe you me, as you speak up and you're consistent in it, someone somewhere will hold your hand and you'll get to where you're going.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, your parting short statement.
Wow. I'm thinking, what do you guys want me to say? And I'm also looking for someone to tell me. But seriously, I think the one thing I will go with is as a founder, as a mother to an initiative, pour into your own cup first before you pour into the community. Otherwise, it will leave you empty. Yeah.
And by the way,
Marlene.
Yes, Marlene. Tell you what, and this is something I write every day. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I always write something, and out of my own experience, take you what she said, have boundaries in your giving, because takers have no limits.
Yeah.
You have to have limits as a giver.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So good. Wendy, statement.
You've diluted my thoughts. Yeah, but what I can say, being a founder, I think, is not easy. So if you can find a fellow founder you can speak to, they'll understand you better. Because I realize there's some things you can tell someone and then she's like, she can't understand the pain. So for me, I normally prefer, if there's something I really need to talk about that is itching me, and there's a certain standard that is normally comes, that is already set when you say you are a founder. Even if it's a small initiative, there's an expectation from people, there's a standard that is set, and maybe sometimes you have to go with that standard, but at the behind the scenes, only a fellow founder can understand.
Yeah.
So it's also good to also speak. If you can find a fellow founder who's a friend and understanding, speak and ask for help, because it's not easy.
Beautiful. And there you have it, our viewers. Wow, I've taken so much. And one thing I want to say is start those initiatives. But if you need to rest. But don't kill the baby. See you on the next episode. Bye.